While Christmas and Thanksgiving have well-documented historical origins, Halloween's history is a bit more mysterious. Have you ever pondered the roots of our modern Halloween traditions? For example, what's the story behind asking strangers for treats and playfully threatening tricks if they refuse to comply? Halloween, known for its spooky and enigmatic nature, indeed has a somewhat mysterious history, but let's set the record straight and sort out the facts from the myths. It all begins with an ancient Celtic festival and becomes more intricate from there. And if you're wondering about the witches and ghosts, don't fret, we'll get into that too. But first, let's explore the less supernatural but rather grim side of Halloween, which is closely tied to the politics and violence of imperialism rather than the world of goblins and ghosts. Just like how we have unique customs for holidays, Halloween too has its origins in myths. By watching this video further, you'll learn about Halloween's history and how it has changed over time due to historical events and oral storytelling, eventually becoming the fun and commercialized holiday we all enjoy today. The origin of Halloween goes way back before Christianity, around 2,000 years ago, to an ancient Celtic celebration called Samhain, which happened in what's now Ireland, parts of France, and the United Kingdom. It marked the shift from summer to the start of winter, giving Halloween its dark and mysterious feel. People believed that on October 31st, the boundary between the living and the dead weakened, letting lost souls return. This spooky belief had various effects, from causing trouble for crops to enhancing the supernatural abilities of Celtic priests, known as druids, who could predict the future and speak with the dead for a cozier winter. The festivals featured bonfires, costumes, yes, even then, and rituals involving crop and animal sacrifices. Afterward, the community used the bonfire to light their own fires, marking the end of summer and the arrival of winter. So, while Samhain had elements of death and fear, it also had a fun and celebratory side. After the Roman Empire took control of Celtic territories in 43 CE, they ruled for many centuries, and during this period, Halloween traditions evolved. Some of these customs had ties to Roman festivals, including Feralia, a time of mourning for the deceased, and a ceremony named after the Roman goddess Pomona, who was the guardian of orchards and celebrated the harvests of fruits and trees. A few centuries into Roman rule, the Catholic Church sought to replace indigenous pagan practices with its own, often while denouncing the older customs but retaining some of their elements. In the 8th century, as people in local communities converted to Christianity, the Catholic Church adapted and incorporated modified versions of existing traditions to gain more converts. This meant that many aspects of Samhain continued. The Church designated November 2nd as All Souls' Day to honor the deceased, including all saints, known and unknown, in an effort to provide a Christian alternative to the Celtic holiday. Celebrations on this day included people dressing up as saints, angels, and even the devil. All Saints' Day was also called All Hallows' Day, which eventually gave rise to the term All Hallows' Eve, or Halloween. In the 1500s, King Henry VIII of England broke away from the Roman Catholic Church because the Pope wouldn't annul his marriage. This led to the creation of the Church of England. While there was some tolerance toward the Protestant Church for a while, the Church of England maintained many Catholic traditions. The situation changed when Queen Mary I, also known as Bloody Mary, came to power. She re-established England's ties to the Roman Catholic Church and ordered the execution of numerous Protestants. But Queen Elizabeth I, a Protestant, succeeded her, and this shift in religious leadership sets the stage for the later developments related to Halloween during English colonization in the Americas. Halloween's history has evolved over time. It started during the American colonial era, with celebrations varying depending on how religious the communities were. Puritans in New England didn't celebrate it much, but in the southern colonies they did. The holiday was linked to harvest celebrations due to cultural exchanges between indigenous people and the settlers. Many years after the U.S. won independence from England and became a country, a large number of European immigrants arrived, bringing new customs and media. In 1759, a Scottish poet named Robert Burns wrote a poem about Halloween, describing some of its practices at the time and coining the term Halloween. The word Halloween seems to come from hallow, which originally meant saint, and een, a short form of eve, or the night before. So how did the holiday reach so many different countries around the world? The reason Halloween spread to many countries worldwide is due to European imperialism. Like many holidays, Halloween customs differ in various places, and today's traditions often have roots in ancient cultures. But what they all have in common is the impact of imperialism, which often involved forcing people to adopt new customs and traditions. In the 16 and 1700s, as American colonists fought for independence and built their nation, they linked citizenship to owning land, usually limited to white men. Similar things were happening in other parts of the continent, where Spanish Catholics were the colonizers. While Spanish Catholic conquerors forced indigenous people to convert to Christianity, some of the local beliefs and culture mixed with Catholic holidays. This is why figures like Santa Muerte, not officially recognized by the Catholic Church, still exist. The Day of the Dead, even though it falls on the Catholic holiday All Saints, is quite different from the Americanized Halloween. During this time, the British expanded their influence, often using force. Alongside colonization, there was an attempt to suppress other religious practices. Interestingly, the British both introduced Halloween and, at the same time, tried to get rid of it. In the late 19th century, Victorian society had strict rules. A rigid class system favored men over women, encouraged self-control, manners, and disapproved of indulgence. Halloween, with its focus on costumes, superstitions, and death, didn't fit well with these Victorian values. Halloween made a comeback in the UK and its colonies around the world, including places like Hong Kong and Singapore, after Queen Victoria passed away in 1901 and social attitudes gradually changed. In the early 1900s, the United States began getting more involved in foreign countries like the Philippines, Japan, Hawaii, and Iran, where American cultural practices, traditions, and media were used to spread American influence. This concept, known as colonial mimicry, meant that peripheral regions imitated dominant American culture, including Halloween. In many of these countries, you'd see local customs mixed with the commercialized American version of Halloween, highlighting how Halloween became a way of both resisting and embracing American culture. By the 1950s, Halloween had become a highly commercial holiday. Candy companies realized that giving out candy on Halloween was a popular idea, so they made more candy, making it affordable and easy to find. This led to the popular Halloween traditions we know today, like trick-or-treating and dressing up. So, you now know what hides behind the candy and disguises. Thanks for watching.